Hi, this is Daniela Wolf with Bestie Life, the podcast, and this is your community to support you through the little and not so little events that make up your day-to-day life. From the I've got this moments to the I just can't moments. We are here to empower all women to find and develop the skills they need to find peace, balance, and the bliss in their busy. Through solo episodes as well as interviews with amazing women who share their journey and their story and how it works for you. I hope you find the inspirations to make you laugh, think, as well as maybe rethink what you thought you knew, and connect as we realize that we are all living similar ups and downs and don't have to do it alone. So excited for you to hear this episode, and thanks so much for joining me today. Hi, this is Daniela with Bestie Life, the podcast, and today I'm excited for you to meet Jen Rulon. She has got just some of the most amazing stories. She has been a triathlete, an Ironman contestant, a fitness coach for over 22 years. She also has kind of transformed her mindset and her life as far as living authentically, following her dreams. She has a book, Self-Motivation Strategies for Women, and just is so inspirational and motivational. I can't wait for you to get to know her. So thank you so much, Jen, for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Danielle. I appreciate it.
And I know I didn't even do justice to like your journey and your story because it's just so amazing. So I would love for you to share it because it's obviously your story and you do it so well.
Sure. No, I understand. I think back in the days before I moved down to Costa Rica, I would always be like, I am a 15-time Ironman triathlete. I've been to the Ironman World Championship. I am an author. I'm a speaker. I am a triathlon coach. I'm a fitness coach. And it got like, I started recognizing like, that's not really who I am as a woman, as Jen Rulon. And so now I sit there and I think about this, and during my meditations and on the beach, I sit there and I think, who is Jen Rulon? I am a woman who loves different, like hard, I love my family, my friends, my just everybody, like I'm just trying to think like, who is that person? And, I'm living authentically. I'm living without my mask anymore because I figured out who I was as a woman and as a person, and I'm not apologizing for it.
Yeah.
And, but it hasn't always been that easy, right? It hasn't been that easy to transition into a world of joy and abundance. I've always been a joyful and happy person, but I feel that for a long time I had to prove myself, or I had to prove to who I was. And so hence the 15 Ironmans, hence getting to the Ironman World Championship. But the Ironman World Championship, and we could divulge a little bit deeper about that, but that was me finding my why and really digging deep for that. So so I think now I am a woman, 51 years old, living a beautiful life in Costa Rica, living very minimalistically and enjoying my strength trainings on the patio, learning a new task, which is surfing. And it brings me so much joy in my life that I don't know if I'll ever move back to the States.
Right. As you're speaking, honestly, like the essence of the road to simplicity is never simple. Just like, that's what I think of when I hear, it's like everyone thinks it's so easy to make life simple, but the journey is where you go through the hurdles and the obstacles and the struggles.
You are not kidding me. That's beautiful. Like, because I think when I look back, even if I look back at my vision boards, I was a vision board person, like in my high school years. And so it was like the jobs that I wanted, right? The dreams that I had, the goals that I had. And Ironman World Championship was on there at 17 years old. But then as I look, and then if I look at my vision boards over, I wanted the 3-bedroom, 3-bath house with this couch, with the couch from Hardware Restoration, like a Restoration Hardware, like, or I wanted Pottery Barn furniture. I wanted to fill all of that, but in reality, it didn't fill me as a person. It did not fill my soul. And here I am in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 2 minutes away from the beach, roosters wake me up every morning and I don't have hot water. And I am happier in this than very simple life than I was with that big house with the Pottery Barn furniture.
Yeah, absolutely. I can relate to so much of what you said, because I used to do the same types of things when I was younger. And I think we're taught when we're younger that success is material. It's tangible.
Yeah.
It's these things, whether it's a car, a house, a job, a dollar amount, a trip, versus learning how to look inward and find that joy. I was reading something, how they talk about, the opposite of triggers are glimmers, and being able to see those glimmers in your day, those things that spark you and bring you joy, and noticing those more often is something, I plan to intentionally work on, because I think that's where the magic happens.
100%. I like that.
Isn't that? I can't remember where I saw it, but I was like, ooh, I want to tap into that.
If you're on Twitter, which is not Twitter anymore, hashtag that, because that's a good one.
Yeah. So, you've definitely worked on your mindset, your why, following grace and gratitude. I have written down was something we talked about. Can you share a little bit more about that? Grace and gratitude. I remember you saying, and I was like writing that down, like, I want to talk about that.
Grace and gratitude. Yes. So when I was going through some of the most difficult times of my life, just recently, about 3.5 years ago, I was going through, my ex and I were going through some really tough times. And I remember falling asleep in the bed with the pillow over my eyes, crying, but just saying, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you for what you are showing me. Higher power, God, universe, whatever your beliefs are. And I was like, thank you, God, for showing me what I need to know. Thank you for gracing me with this life. And I kept thinking about this every night. I would go to bed, every morning I would wake up. And I found I'll have to send you the link. It was a thankfulness meditation or a gratitude meditation that I found on YouTube. And I would listen to it every single night during my separation.
Mm-hmm.
So at 2019, we started going to therapy. Then, and then we ended up separating in 2021. And then I asked for the divorce in the middle of 2021. But I remember finding this gratitude meditation, and I would listen to it every single night. Now, there were times that I would fall asleep within 5 minutes. It was like a 20-minute meditation. And it really showed me how to be thankful for what I am going through now, because I'm only going to appreciate those walks on the beach, that falling in the ocean when I just got slammed by a wave on the surfboard. It's those little things that I was like, I have to be thankful now for what I'm going through, because I'm never going to appreciate these beautiful moments of glimmer.
Yeah. And I love how you take that perspective, because so many times people talk about, appreciating our hard times in hindsight versus in the moment. And I think that really is such a powerful shift, to be able to put yourself there when it's happening versus later when life is better. It's always easier to look back with rose-colored glasses.
Right. And I remember, and this is what I would tell myself. I would say, thank you for my past and what was brought to me. Thank you for my now. Thank you for the present. And thank you for my future. I don't know what my future is going to look like, but what I do know, it's going to be beautiful, because I trust. I need to trust. And I actually talked about that I did a commencement speak to the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, my alumni. And I told the kids the same thing. I was like, give gratitude every single day, whether it's morning, in the evening, or both, just say thanks for my present, or my past, my present, and my future.
Right. Because so many times we focus on the regrets of the past, the worry and anxiety of the future. And again, that place of gratitude and thankfulness for all of it is, I think, empowers you and gives you back that kind of hand in holding on to what it means to you, what you do with it, how you carry it, all of that. Yeah,
exactly.
Oh, no, that's fantastic. I love all of that. And you've also been a TEDx speaker, correct?
I have. I did. I started watching TEDx talks, and I got really inspired. And the very first one was Simon Sinek, Finding Your Why, like that. I mean, if you haven't seen that, go to YouTube, type in Simon Sinek why. Like and I was like,
it's like the gold standard that people start with and go, yes.
Yes, exactly. And so I thought to myself, I want to do a TEDx. And so I actually just started going online, and I started like reaching out to TEDx places around Texas. And I actually had an interview with Texas Women's University and one in San Antonio. And so San Antonio was like sort of like, and I go, well, I have this opportunity at Texas Women's, and they go up there. Anyways, long story short, the TEDx talk was really about my second why in finding in my Ironman triathlon journey as trying to go to the world championship. So back in 1989, I was watching the ABC Wild World of Sports. Some of you remember the tagline, the thrill of victory and the agony of the
skier coming off the ledge.
Yes, everybody remembers. Yes. If you're around our age, everybody remembers that, right?
Yes.
And I was watching the Ironman World Championship that day, and Mark Allen and Dave Scott were on that show, like they were running neck and neck. Mark won that day at 8 hours and 6 minutes or something insane like that. And then an hour later, Paula Newby Frazier, the first female, crossed the finish line. And I was like, oh shoot, if she can do that, I can do that. So then I went probably 2 months later, I went and talked to my grandpa, who was like the pinnacle of men in my life, in my world, a little bit more than my dad. And I said, Grandpa, I'm going to do the Ironman World Championship by the time I'm 30. He's like, well, when you go, I'll go with you. I was like, what? I was just like, oh, Grandpa, So that was definitely my number one why, right? But I think another why that I had was my dad. And my dad, and this is the TEDx talk, my dad had such an amazing bond with my brother through sports, but it was football, basketball, baseball, and hockey. Right? I didn't play any of that. I played softball. I was a cheerleader. I played volleyball.
The sports running. To females were so different back then. Now,
so different. Yeah. Where my brother and my niece have such an amazing connection through football. Like my brother's like, I think she knows more than me, and I'm like, she might,
Yeah.
And which is beautiful, which is so beautiful. So I wanted to get, let's be real, I wanted to get my dad's attention. And for me to get my dad's attention was through sports. And so that's what the TEDx talk was about. And I talked about like the 3 tips that I had for during that journey. But when I did do my first Ironman, it made me realize that I didn't need my dad's validation anymore, because I validated myself.
Yeah. And I think in general, so many of us, especially as women, we're looking for that outside validation, whether it's from a boss, from a partner, from society, that we're a good wife, a good mom, that we're good enough, whether it's through sports, the way we maintain our home, the way we parent our kids, we're always looking to up level it to get somebody else's thumbs up, great job.
100%. And then I think too, then everybody's like, well, why did you do 14 more? And because I wanted to get to Kona, and to get to the Ironman World Championship was not an easy task back in those days. And I remember I did my second Ironman, and I was like 90 seconds from getting a slot to Kona.
Oh gosh.
And I was like, oh my God. And then, but I don't think I would have had the story that I do now. I mean, the story was already planned for me. And so 28 years later, I made it to the Ironman World Championship through the hard work, dedication, grit, perseverance, whatever word you want to fill out,
And obviously everyone's got their own set of whys. So you've got your book, Self-Motivation Strategies for Women, because I think that's sometimes where the longevity comes from, is that motivation, and having that internal self versus external is powerful. Tell us a little bit about the book.
Oh, so it's interesting because I wrote it in 2020 when I was going through one of the hardest moments of my life, right? During the, we're all dealing with 2020, right? But then the relationship, the personal side of my world. And I was up every morning, just trucking along, writing this book. And so in the self-motivation strategy book that you could get on Amazon, and no, I don't get any more residuals on it or anything like that.
Yeah.
But
And the links will be live.
yeah, and I'm happy to send you one if you want me to send you one.
Thank you. I love that.
Yeah. And
I'll go buy one.
and for me, like, we talk about the physical, we talk about the emotional, we talk about career, we talk about the spiritual, we talk about community, and we talk about so many. I say we, but I talk about so many of what really fueled me to help me become a better version of myself. And there was one chapter, and it was personal relationships. And my editor was like, hey, you need to go back and rewrite a lot of these. And it was because I was going through the emotional turmoil. And she goes, and she even knew what was going on. And she goes, Jen, write this book like you're writing to yourself. And that was the shift that I had to make in my head and in my brain, to be like, you know what? Right now, this book is for me and not for the masses.
Right. And I think that's where your voice comes through, is when you write it to yourself, for yourself. I think we all, whether we're speaking on a stage or writing, we get that tone, when we think it's for somebody else, because we make it formal, we make it sound pretty. We don't want to offend anybody. It's never as raw and real as when, the way we talk to ourselves, even though sometimes I think we're too harsh with ourselves, but the way that can communicate for somebody else is powerful.
Yeah. It's interesting too, because my very first thing that I wrote was the introduction. And I got to the end of the book and I reached out to my editor. I go, I hate this introduction. She goes, why? I go, I have a mask on and I sound like a robot.
Yeah.
And the very last portion of my time, I took a Carrie Bradshaw break, and I went to Destin, Florida, and I drove to Destin, Florida. And I told my husband at the time, I said, I need to step away, and the ocean fuels my soul. Well, I get there and no problem. I'm in a high rise and all that stuff. Well, I went through a hurricane.
Oh,
it was
God.
Hurricane Sally, which was so it was so real, because I was like, oh my God. And so I reached out to the editor. I go, I'm writing my new introduction. And so I rewrote the introduction. I'm like, yeah, here I am sitting at the end of Hurricane Sally, blah, blah, blah. And not only am I going through a hurricane currently, but I'm going through my own personal hurricane.
Yeah, it was so symbolic, I'm sure, to feel like
so symbolic.
The end, the water tides wash away, the sun comes back out, and you think it's all possible.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
And I'm so sad that they cut like half of it. And I'm like, but I have the original, and I'm like, I need to share it because I think it would connect with a lot of people.
I wonder if it could just be its own like standalone article in something.
Oh, right.
Just even separate from the book, to be able to share that full version.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be powerful.
I mean, I could put it on my blog, but yeah,
same. All of it.
Same.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like it. Thank you.
No, and I can't thank you enough for just sharing so honestly the hard things you've gone through, the gratitude you have, the amazing place you've gotten to in your life now. Like the fact that you're taking up surfing is just inspiring.
Thank
we think
you.
we get to a certain age sometimes we're like, oh, I'm too old for that. I don't think we're too old for anything. And I just love that you're living that authentic, like, this is you. As long as I'm capable, I'm doing it all. Because I think we forget that.
Yeah, for sure. And I should back up, because I wasn't always like this when it came to when I had some really hard moments in my life. Like, I dealt with 3 miscarriages, the death of my dad within a year's time span.
Oh my gosh.
And I worked out. I didn't eat. I was drinking like a fish. Like, I still was going to therapy. I was going to therapy for it, but I wasn't like, I just was in a rut. So I have to elaborate, like, I wasn't always like this when I was going through these hard moments, because I didn't really know how to, because I thought like this was how my life was supposed to be. Like, you get married, you have a child, blah, blah, blah. Like, and I just couldn't have a child, and And yeah, it was interesting. So, long story short, I did end up quitting drinking almost 4 years ago, and that completely changed my world. Yeah.
Because I'm sure there were so many things being kind of avoided.
100%.
Yeah.
I put that mask on, but I was drinking behind that mask, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The beer goggles kind of covered it all.
Oh, what? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
no, absolutely.
So. Yeah.
So your book is on Amazon, and then where can people find you, Jen? How can they work with you?
Of course. You could go to JenRulon.com, or you can go to Instagram. I am on Coach Jen Rulon. You could go to Facebook, Jen Rulon. And then I myself have a podcast out called The Everyday Healthy Human. And it's talking about how not just me, but other guests that I have, how we have transformed and metamorphosized into a beautiful butterfly or the best version of ourselves.
I love it. I love it. And all those links will be live in the show notes below.
Beautiful.
So thank you so much, Jen, for joining me today.
Thanks, Daniela. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much again for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please let me know any questions or comments that you have. Also, if you can please leave an Apple 5-star review so that this episode can be shared with more women. There's 2 quotes that I love. Alone we may be strong, but together we are stronger, as well as when women support each other, incredible things happen. So let's be stronger and incredible together, as well as maybe just have some fun along the way. Thanks so much and talk to you soon. Bye.